Greetings, class. Welcome to Duel Academy. Professor Rivas here, and this will be the third lesson of your third class in your raw yellow term, Master Rules Past and Present, Master Rules 4 and 5. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell to be up to date with the latest Duel Academy lessons and assessments. So without further ado, get your deck, get your game on, and let's get started. Before we get started with this new lesson, let's do a quick recap of Master Rules 2. Master Rules 2 was initiated in the OCG in 2011 with the release of the Starter Deck 2011, which introduced Xyz monsters and Xyz summoning. New terminology was introduced like Tribute Summon and Tribute, previously known as Advanced Summon and Release respectively. Lastly, Ignition Effect priority was no longer allowed in Master Rules 2. When it came to Master Rules 3, it was initiated in the OCG in 2014, along with Starter Deck 2014. This introduced Pendulum monsters and the Pendulum summoning mechanic. The terminology once again changed. Monster Card Zone became Monster Zone, Spell and Trap Card Zone became Spell and Trap Zone, and Field Card Zone became Field Zone. Problem-solving card text was introduced to logically interpret card text. Rule changes occurred, causing the first turn player to not draw during their first draw phase and allowing each player to have their own field spell at the same time. Lastly, the damage step was simplified to 5 timings. Let's now talk about the new Master Rules, also known as Master Rules 4. These new Master Rules came into effect in the OCG in 2017, introducing Link monsters and the Link summoning mechanic. There were also some significant changes to the field layout, moving zones, renaming zones, and adding zones. Finally, there was also a significant change affecting where extra deck monsters can be special summoned. Let's get into it. Let's link into the Reigns era. Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns was the anime that was released during the time of Master Rules 4, along with Starter Deck 2017. This starter deck introduced the first brand new Link monsters, including Decode Talker, Honeybot, and Link Spider. Some new terminology that was introduced during Master Rules 4 included Link Monster, Link Summon, Link Marker, and Link States. These terms were reviewed in our previous Advanced Summoning Techniques class. Take a look at the new field layout for Master Rules 4. As you can see, we have some major changes. The Pendulum zones have now moved to the leftmost and rightmost Spell and Trap zones. The Monster Zone was renamed to the Main Monster Zone due to the addition of the Extra Monster Zones, reserved for monsters that come from the extra deck. The last major change in Master Rules 4 involves extra deck special summoning. Monsters special summoned from the extra deck must be summoned to either an extra monster zone or a main monster zone a Link monster points to. This includes Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, Link, and Pendulum monsters from the extra deck. At this point, the game had become extremely fast, with players figuring out ways to spam multiple special summons from the extra deck in a turn. This new rule encouraged a change in pace, hoping to slow down the game a bit. In this example, you can see Decode Talker in an extra monster zone. With 2 of its arrows pointing to your side of the field, those main monster zones become unlocked to special summon more extra deck monsters. In this case, a Fusion monster and an Xyz monster. Here's another example. Decode Talker is still in an extra monster zone, and its arrows are still unlocking 2 main monster zones, allowing for the special summon of a Pendulum monster and another Link monster to those unlocked zones. If you did not have a Link monster unlocking main monster zones, you would only have the 1 extra monster zone to special summon 1 extra deck monster. Time to talk about Master Rules 2020-2021, unofficially known as Master Rules 5. These rules came into effect, in 2020-2021. These new Master Rules changed the previously discussed rule on extra deck summoning and changes regarding cards and their effects. So, remember how I just discussed that you can only special summon from the extra deck in an extra monster zone, or main monster zone a link monster points to? Well, that not only applies to Pendulum and Link monsters with Master Rules 5. Fusion, Synchro, and Xyz monsters can now be special summoned from the extra deck in either an open extra monster zone or an open main monster zone. Let's discuss some rule changes in Master Rules 5. Unless it is specifically referenced in the text, monsters that are returned to the extra deck face down cannot activate their effects. This includes mandatory effects. This means that if a Fusion, Synchro, Xyz, or Link monster has an effect that triggers when it, quote-unquote, leaves the field, the effect will not trigger if it's sent back to the extra deck face down. In card text, cards refer to their effect activation requirement as well as their effect activation location. This means that if a monster's effect activates when it's normal summoned, its effect location is the field. If a card's effect activates when it's sent to the graveyard, its effect location is the graveyard. Cards with text such as, during the turn you activate this effect, you cannot special summon monsters except blank monsters, or, during the turn you activate this card, you cannot summon monsters except with this card's effect, which have activation requirements for whether or not you summon certain monsters during the turn, will not check whether or not the summoning of the monster described in the text was successful for their activation requirements. There are many cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! That lock you into a certain type or attribute for a turn when it is summoned. However, if that summon is negated, then the lock never occurs and you are free to play outside of that type or attribute for the rest of that turn. Cards with effects such as, you can only special summon blank once per turn, now only apply if the summon was successful. Let's look at a card like Photon Vanisher that states you can only special summon it once per turn. If it was to be special summoned, but then have its summon negated by a card like Solemn Strike, you would still be able to special summon another copy of Photon Vanisher onto the field since the first special summon was negated. Continuous trap cards that special summon themselves to the monster zone by their own effects now also do not occupy a spell and trap zone, but they are still treated as trap cards. Before Master Rules 5, trap monsters took up both a monster zone and a spell and trap zone. With the implementation of Master Rules 5, they now only occupy a main monster zone. Thank you so much for attending this class. There will be a quiz in this lesson, so don't forget to take it. Your final exam will follow soon after. I hope you have a great day, and class dismissed.